Sean Combs was born in Harlem, a place of vibrant culture yet stark realities. His father, Melvin Combs, was murdered. Sean was just a child then. This tragedy cast a long shadow. It forged a deep, burning ambition within him. He would not be a victim of circumstance. His mother, Janice Smalls, became his rock. She worked multiple jobs, a testament to resilience. She instilled in him a drive, a relentless pursuit of success. Young Combs watched, learned, and absorbed. He saw the power of presentation, the allure of charisma. He understood early the currency of image in a world that often judged by surfaces. He was determined to craft his own narrative, one of power and triumph. The streets of Harlem were a complex teacher. They offered lessons in survival, in hustle, and reading people. Combs was an astute student, absorbing every nuance. The journey from those early shadows was just beginning, fueled by an unyielding will. The first major steps were taken at Uptown Records. Combs was young, barely into his 20s. But his hunger was palpable, his vision clear. He quickly made a name for himself as a talent director. He had an ear for hits, an eye for stars. He was instrumental in shaping careers, in molding sounds, yet his own ambitions soon outgrew the confines of working for someone else. In 1993, Bad Boy Records was born. It was more than a label, it was a statement. He quickly signed the notorious Biggie's raw talent combined with Combs's production and marketing genius was explosive. They didn't just make music, they crafted anthems for a generation. The sound of Bad Boy became synonymous with 1990s hip-hop success. Mace, Total, Faith Evans, 112. The roster was a constellation of stars. Combs wasn't just behind the scenes, he was front and center, the charismatic figurehead. Bad Boy wasn't just selling records, it was selling a lifestyle. The Bad Boy empire was built on Combs' shrewd understanding of the market. The shiny suit era was pure Combs. It was flamboyant, aspirational, and undeniably captivating. He understood that music was only one part of the equation. Image was paramount. He and his artists dripped in designer labels, exuding wealth and success. This aesthetic became a cultural phenomenon, influencing fashion far beyond hip-hop circles. Combs wasn't just making music, he was curating a cultural moment. In 1998, he launched the Sean John clothing line. It was an immediate success, winning critical acclaim and commercial adoration. Then came television, with Making the Band. The reality show format was perfect for his larger-than-life persona. He was the demanding mentor, the ultimate arbiter of talent. He was crafting stars and his own legend on screen. He became the face of Kyrock Vodka, transforming its image and sales. He moved into film, into media, always expanding his reach. He was no longer just Puff Daddy, the music producer. He was Sean Combs, the mogul, a businessman with an uncanny ability to turn cultural cachet into cold, hard cash. His influence permeated popular culture. He had transcended music to become a brand unto himself. But even at the height of his power, shadows lingered. The 1999 Club New York shooting was a stark moment. Combs and his then-girlfriend Jennifer Lopez were present. 3 people were injured. Combs was charged with weapons violations and bribery. He was ultimately acquitted of all charges, yet the incident left an indelible mark. It hinted at a volatile world beneath the polished veneer of success. Questions about his judgment, his associations, began to surface. The tragic unsolved murder of the notorious Big in 1997 also cast a long pall. While Combs publicly mourned his friend and star artist, whispers and theories persisted. Some questioned what he knew or what he might have done. These were often unsubstantiated, fueled by grief and the chaos of the East Coast-West Coast rap rivalry, but they contributed to a growing unease, disputes with artists, allegations of strong-arm tactics in business, stories of a demanding, sometimes ruthless pursuit of his goals. For many, these were just the costs of doing business at the highest levels, the price of ambition in a competitive world. The controversies were footnotes, not headlines, in the grand narrative of his success, but the whispers never entirely faded. Over the years, a chorus of discontent began to rise from those who had once been in his orbit. Former Bad Boy artists started to speak out. Their stories painted a different picture of the charismatic leader. They spoke of alleged manipulation, of feeling creatively stifled. They claimed their financial dues were not always met. These were not just disgruntled employees. These were talents who had contributed to the empire's foundation. Their words carried weight. Accusations of creative theft and unfair contracts became more frequent. Artists like Mace, The Lox, and others publicly aired their grievances. They described a system where Combs profited immensely, while those who created the art felt shortchanged. The narrative of the supportive mentor began to fray. It was replaced in some accounts by a portrait of a shrewd operator who prioritized his own gain above all else. Loyalty, it seemed, was often a one-way street. The cost of association with the mogul was, for some, proving to be incredibly high. The shiny surface of the empire was beginning to show deeper, more troubling fissures. The dam finally broke in November 2023. Cassandra Ventura, the singer known as Cassie, filed a bombshell lawsuit. She had been Combs' protégé, his longtime romantic partner. Her allegations were horrifying. She detailed years of alleged physical abuse, sexual coercion, and psychological torment. She claimed he forced her into freak-offs with sex workers. She even alleged he blew up Kid Cudi's car in a fit of jealousy. The details were graphic, disturbing. The lawsuit sent shockwaves through the entertainment world and beyond. Combs, the untouchable mogul, was suddenly vulnerable. The allegations were too specific, too severe to be easily dismissed. Just one day after the lawsuit was filed, it was settled. The speed of the settlement, for an undisclosed amount, raised more questions than it answered. Many saw it as an admission of guilt, or at least a desperate attempt to silence a damaging accuser. Cassie's bravery, however, opened the floodgates. In the weeks and months that followed, more women came forward. The carefully constructed image of Sean "Diddy" Combs was crumbling. The situation escalated dramatically on March 25, 2024. Federal agents from Homeland Security Investigations raided Combs' opulent homes. His mansions in Los Angeles and Miami were swarmed. The raids were part of an ongoing sex trafficking investigation. The images were stark armed agents, armored vehicles, the symbols of his wealth, now crime scenes. The message was clear: no one was above the law, no matter how rich or powerful. The investigation continued to tighten its grip. Then, on September 16, 2024, the inevitable happened. Sean Combs was arrested. He was charged with a battery of serious federal crimes. These included sex trafficking and racketeering. The man who had once defined cool was now facing the cold reality of the justice system. He was denied bail. The judge cited a risk of witness tampering. The mogul was now an inmate, held at Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center. The empire Combs had meticulously built was now under full-scale assault, not by business rivals, but by the rule of law. His trial was scheduled to begin on May 5, 2025. Then came the video. On May 17, 2024, CNN released shocking surveillance footage. It was from a hotel hallway dated 2016. It showed Combs brutally assaulting Cassie. He was seen grabbing her, throwing her to the ground, kicking her and dragging her. The images were visceral, undeniable. They provided a chilling visual corroboration to the types of abuse alleged in her lawsuit. The public reaction was swift and overwhelmingly negative. Combs issued an apology days later. He called his actions inexcusable and said he was truly sorry. He claimed he was at rock bottom during that period and had sought professional help. But for many, the apology rang hollow. It came only after the irrefutable video evidence surfaced years after the incident. The carefully crafted words did little to quell the outrage. The visual proof was too powerful, too damning. The release of the video marked a significant turning point in public perception. The court of public opinion, fueled by the disturbing video, had largely delivered its verdict long before any criminal trial reached its conclusion. The conversation shifted from his musical achievements to the serious allegations of abuse and criminal conduct. The impact on Sean Combs' legacy is profound and likely irreparable. The accolades, the chart-topping hits, the groundbreaking business ventures, all are now viewed through a darker lens. The question of separating the art from the artist becomes incredibly fraught. Can his contributions to music and culture be celebrated independently of the monstrous allegations he faces? For many, the answer is a resounding no. His name is now inextricably linked to these accusations. As of May 2025, with his trial underway, the legal battles are far from over. Over 70 civil lawsuits have been filed since November 2023. While he has pleaded not guilty to all criminal charges, the sheer volume of accusers paints a disturbing pattern. The justice system will run its course, but the damage to his reputation is already catastrophic. Brands have distanced themselves, awards have been rescinded, and his music is met with a new, uncomfortable silence by some. The saga raises uncomfortable questions about fame, power, and the systems that may enable abuse. How could such alleged behavior persist for so long, involving one of the most visible figures in the entertainment industry? Were whispers ignored? Was power used to silence victims? These are questions that extend beyond Combs himself, touching upon broader issues within the industry and society at large. The pursuit of justice for his accusers is paramount. What remains is a legacy in tatters. The final chapters are still being written, in courtrooms and in the public consciousness.